All right, coming to you live from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. This is Carson Park, and this is the Zaleski Sports Red Zone channel. Jason Zaleski, Dan Ross, and we will take you through tonight's action all over the place. This will be the, well, I say this always, Dan, right? I start laying out some ground rules right away, and then I break them all during the course of the show. But
that's what you do.
I know. The idea is this will be the video outlet for you. We've got scores surrounding us all over the place to do this little thing here. We are in Eau Claire, though. We've got the Edgar Wildcats on this side. We've got the Regis Ramblers over on our right side. That game is live at ZaleskiSports.com, as is Stratford at Grantsburg, and Siren Newman just up the road in Chippewa, not that far away. So if there's any kind of emergency, Dan, you and I are headed out to Chippewa.
I thought about going there anyway.
Well, there's still time.
It was a little bit closer.
Yeah. I said, well, from where you were, you might have driven near the stadium there on your way here from Highway 29.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to have a little bit of fun tonight. So I got Don watching. Hey, Don, how's it going? Geez, a whole bunch of people watching already. Yeah, so we're going to take you around as we have now in the past on this Red Zone channel. We've shown video of other scores. At this point, that's not the plan tonight. The plan is we will guide you through all the action that we see, action in front of us, action all around the online world. Dan's going to be vigorously scrubbing through Twitter and YouTube, Facebook, you name it. If you've got a score you know of, please message it in to us. If there's a game you'd rather us watch or keep you updated on, we are at your beck and call tonight. So just let us know. It might cost you a couple bucks. Venmo at Zaleski Sports. And it might not. You may have a valid point, and we'll tell you about that score. Pretty good crowd still trickling in here, especially on the home side. The Regis Ramblers are to our right. They are lining the end line right now, waiting for National Anthem. We are 2 minutes from all the opening festivities here. We'll have some pregame announcements. They'll tell us all the rules around here, which they give that announcement everywhere. That's a canned message that WIAA sends out to everybody. They'll go through that. We'll do the anthem. We'll have some sort of player introductions. Sometimes Edgar goes as a team. Sometimes they go as individuals. I'm sure Regis probably goes as a team.
Well, it looks like it because they are lined up from sideline to sideline on the goal line.
We're in Division 7, so they're on the larger end of D7 and the cutoff this year. But with the number of players that are standing in that end zone, Dan, they look like a Division 2 sized roster. Got about 300 kids on the football team and 200 some in the school.
Yeah, it's formidable, right? I mean,
yeah, it's intimidating.
Quick estimate, maybe 60 kids out, I would say.
60 kids. That's almost all of the high school, at least on the boys' side of the school, standing down there in the end zone. So it's you imagine who could be left in the stands in the student section. Edgar, at times has looked like that though in the past. They don't this year. Enrollment's declining everywhere, but that's for another show. Carissa watching. Hey, Carissa. Congratulations to Macy, by the way. It's pretty, or something. There's some sort of congratulations in order. I don't keep my nose to the ground like that, but sometimes things appear on my Facebook feed. Gavin checking us out. Gavin and the Marshfield Chaparrals baseball team. Gavin represents anyway. 20 seconds left. All right, so Grantsburg, Stratford, Regis, Edgar, and Newman and Siren all available at ZaleskiSports.com. We're also, in the opening moments anyway, keeping our eye on Aquinas and Colby. That's Division 5. River Falls and West Appear, Division 2. Muskego, Mukwonago, Waunakee, Kimberly, and Onalaska, Rice Lake, all Division 1. Although Onalaska, that's Division 2, sorry. Muskego, Mukwonago, Waunakee, Kimberly, Division 1. Waunakee, Division 2 champs last year. But they are in Division 1. Kimberly and Neenah in a tight one last week. I think it was just a 1-point game at the end. But Kimberly came out on top. So we're going to keep those scores up on the screen for you the whole time through. Again, if you've got a different game you'd like us to keep an eye on, and it could be anything. Maybe there's an NHL game you'd rather us put up on the screen. Whatever, what have you. Maybe some Maction. I don't know if there's any Maction tonight on a Friday night.
All week there's been Maction.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, it is that time of year.
Oh, Maction. It's pretty good stuff. We're going to have college basketball starting soon. We had an exhibition game. On Monday. We had an exhibition game. UW Eau Claire was at UW-Madison. And the Blue Gold hung with for Moments in the first half. They did, yeah. They really did. So good for the Blue Golds. Maybe that's a sign for things to come this year for the Blue Golds men's basketball team. National anthem here. We'll put the microphone out the window for you to hear. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Dan, it's kind of the golden time of the year right now. We had the World Series last night. We had NFL on last night. Of course, we've got the high school sports continuing. We had state volleyball last night, continued into today. We'll finish tomorrow. They'll crown 5 boys, too. 5 state champions in volleyball. We've got NBA, NHL, Maction. We've got college basketball, as Dan said, starting on Monday. This is the golden time of the year. It's now through the second week in February where things are go pretty wild. We get a small break, and then we're into college basketball conference championships, and then on it goes from there. But this is going to be good stuff here tonight. Again, we are in Eau Claire. We've got the Edgar Wildcats being introduced in front of us right now. Regis Ramblers are standing behind their sign. Again, that game live at ZaleskiSports.com. So if you don't want to listen to us talk about it, and really, we won't even talk about it the entire time. You can watch it in its entirety, in its completeness right now at ZaleskiSports.com. Also, Stratford at Grantsburg, and Siren and Newman just right over there in Chippewa. We can almost see Dorius Field from here. Almost. Dan's got some nice pictures on his computer there. All right. Ads. Getting served ads. Yeah, what are you looking for?
This is Don Alaska again. I'm going to pay $12 to watch this.
Oh, don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. Huh. Really? Well, okay. Well, you've got some other options, hopefully. So the Ramblers come on the field, just about set for kickoff. Here we've got, so let's take you through the talent lineup. Tom King is in the booth downstairs to our right, giving you Regis Eau Claire football. Regis Eau Claire and Edgar. I'm gonna get my E's mixed up here today, Dan. I don't know why. I'm usually fairly smooth. So Tom King here, Edgar and Regis. Got Bob Rombach in Grantsburg, Stratford, and then Steve Maves and Mike Wendlandt for Newman Siren. Now the note there in 8-player football, that's a game to go to state. So we're going to see a team punch its ticket to state here in a couple hours between Newman and Siren. The Dragons and the Cardinals. And speaking of Dragons, there was a nationwide vote that concluded just a couple days ago that included the Rhinelander Hodags. And the Hodags were voted the number one high school mascot in all of the country. It's a pretty cool mascot, though.
It wasn't close. It was a blowout vote, yeah.
Yeah, well, that all makes sense because it's a bit of a dragon, a Hodag. You go up to Rhinelander and what's a Hodag, right? That's kind of what people say. Yeah, here, click where it says live there, Dan. Yeah, click there. They don't.
All right.
Yep. But yeah, it looks like most games are coming online. We're going to have a kickoff here. Regis will get the ball first. And Matt Hasselbeck, because we're going to score.
You know what? This is a level 3 game. They should find turf fields for all level 3s.
It's a good idea. It's nearly mandatory for level 4. And there's some debate about the mandatoriness of it, as Regis will begin just outside their own 20. So no scores yet again. No, so Dan is at the controls of that spreadsheet you see behind us, or I guess surrounding us. And again, we are sponsored by Security Health Plan. Promises kept, plain and simple. This is the Zaleski Sports Red Zone channel, where we will tell you updates all across the state. They give you a really close-in camera look there for Onalaska Rice Lake. Rice Lake beating Mosinee last week by somewhat of a comfortable margin.
High-scoring game, though.
It was a high-scoring game, 70-80 combined points. Way too much zooming in that Onalaska game. I would take that camera and throw it over the bleachers
I
right
am
now.
getting a little nauseous.
You see why we talk about that around here. Of course, we've got all professional operators around here, so it's not a whole lot to talk about. As Regis rips off a 20-yard run to start near midfield. Dilly, Weewid, boy oh boy, Jeff, Jason, Paul, Jennifer, John, Christy, all checking us out here tonight.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for all. Thank you, one and all, for watching. No scores around the area yet. Jason Zaleski, Dan Ross here. Highlights are on Facebook right now of Athens and Monticello. The Athens Blue Jays fell in 5, fifth game tiebreak, but Athens, a state competitor, so they've got that banner to hang in the gymnasium. I'd probably do it during the summer and then show it off for volleyball season next year. The Monticello Ponies moving on to a championship game.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I kind of followed along, and looked like Athens might have had him in the fourth set. I think that was an overtime set, maybe 27-25, something like that. Athens, I think you mentioned it on the site this week. They didn't lose a set the entire way.
Pretty wild stat, really, when you think about it. Dan and I saw Edgar. Edgar came a game short of a state tournament appearance. Wittenberg-Burnhamwood took care of Edgar. That was a 5-game thriller on Thursday last week. And then Wittenberg dropped in straight sets to Howard's Grove. Howard's Grove, kind of a perennial volleyball power. So the 1-4 matchup there.
Stratford forced a punt, Grantsburg punt. So Stratford has the ball inside their own 30, but don't think Grantsburg moved the ball at all. I think they lost yardage in their possession.
So the 1 and the 2. I know that Bob and our on-air talent tonight from Grantsburg has actually got a son that plays for the Pirates. Were concerned about the Stratford defense. They were just overall concerned about the game, and Stratford has performed well in football playoffs over the last 20-odd years.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. More than one handful full of championship banners hang over in Stratford.
Speaking of pretty good, this Regis offensive line is really handing it to Edgar this first drive.
I can't see him anymore. Down by the 30. Got about 7 dads here leaning over in front of me. So that's all right. I see what I need to see. So 2-minute long drive for the Ramblers as they march down the field on the Wildcats.
Just outside the red zone.
Okay. Outside the Security Health Plan red zone. Promises kept, plain and simple. Again, just joining us, if there's a game you would rather see on the screen in text, we give you the score updates there. Just let us know. We'll keep those updated for you. We intend this, as we have all season, to supplement the viewing of your game of choice. This should not, I don't think anyway, should be your main outlet. have this on a computer and then set it over there next to the TV or something, or in your lap.
Over in Grantsburg,
yeah,
those are thick lines.
Those are thick lines.
Yeah, they got a really thick roller on the field.
It's one of those deals where you ordered from Amazon and you ordered the 3-inch line and they gave you the 9-inch line. You said, well, all right, we're going to keep it.
No tick marks for yards.
Well, why would you? You got those thick lines.
Regis is down to the 5.
Okay, so things going according to the plan of the Ramblers here. Opening series for Regis.
Stratford just fumbled at midfield. Grantsburg has it.
So Stratford played solid defense, and then offense gives it back, 5 plays later? Yep, I was talking to Bob about his instant replay. Yeah, just on first contact, lost the ball.
Yep. They were moving it, too.
Okay. Jared checks in on the broadcast. Hey, Jared, thanks for watching. Yeah, Dan, you're going to have to tell me what's going on down there. I got no chance at all.
Second and goal from the 5.
I heard Xander Rocco, the ball carrier. That's all I could hear.
Edgar's starting to stack the box a little bit. It looked like the Wildcats came out wanting to stop the passing attack of Regis. They have not thrown the ball yet. Haven't needed to. The Edgar defense has been very good this year.
It has been good. Just that one game. Colby. And there's a chance that this could be that one game again. There's that chance.
Regis is in.
So Regis in. So they score first, and we'll update the big score sheet, the master list, as it will be. I'll take a look at Newman and Siren. And there's a score there, Dan. Newman in the end zone. They lead 6-0. So Newman and Regis. I'm going to say Newman scored first. They're already kicking off. So our first score of the night comes from the Newman Cardinals. Again, that's a trip to go to state. And the state championship game in 8-player will be a week from tomorrow, to my understanding, in Wisconsin Rapids. Although that could be, I think it could be moved. I don't know, though.
Wildcats stopped Regis on the 2-point conversion, so 6-0 Regis.
Okay. So 6. There's how you get to 12, Dan. You asked about that earlier.
That's true.
So speaking of other sports, some of us around here are going to head over to Minneapolis tomorrow. We're going to take in Timberwolves and Rockets. I don't know a single player that plays for the Houston Rockets.
Most don't. They've been one of the worst teams in the league the last couple of years.
I asked my brother on the phone if Yao Ming still played there, and he said yes. And I said, "Oh, really?" And he said, "No."
James Harden? No.
No, Jay. He plays somewhere else too.
He's actually out for a month.
Jeremy Lin, probably not there.
Actually, he might be there.
He could still be a holdover in his 14th season. I don't know. It's going to be a surprise to us. We're going just for the fun of it. I don't have any NBA affiliation. I know the Bucks won a world championship a couple of years ago. That's nice. The NBA and Jason are not meant to be, for many reasons.
We have a touchdown by, I think, Rice Lake over Onalaska. I don't know which team is which, so we got to wait for the score.
Well, Onalaska's purple.
All right, 6-0.
So Rice Lake on the board, 6-0 over Onalaska. Onalaska, the 1 seed. Dan, when those seeds came out, we noticed right away that Onalaska and West Bend on the same half of the bracket, 11 miles apart, yet Onalaska welcomed in Ashland, 240 miles away in level 1. So there's a chance, although they're trailing now, that the level 1 opponent to Alaska would travel 240 miles, and a level 4 game would be 11 miles apart, and they'll have to find a neutral field somehow 11 miles apart. Yeah, the Zoom is stupid on that game. That is, I would have fired that camera operator right now.
So no one's watching this.
I've never fired anybody. I would have fired that guy. Who knows?
Nobody's watching this.
That's.
I wish there was instant replay. It was a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, that you couldn't see.
It was like a option play. The quarterback half-handed it off. They fumbled it, picked it up, pitched it out to a wide guy going for the pylon. He got in trouble. He threw it behind his head as high as he could, and the ball ended up being fumbled, and it's fine. But
so we had that on a 2-point conversion, Edgar, from, I don't know, week 3, somewhere in there. Quarterback Tegan Strait threw a hook pass.
Yes.
About 30 feet in the air. I won't exaggerate. 30 feet in the air.
It was high.
And Baumgartner in the back of the end zone came down with it. We talked to Coach Sins, our weekly Jerry Sins show that came to an end a couple weeks ago. We don't bother Coach during the playoffs. And he said that's exactly what we teach our kids, that nothing bad can happen on a 2-point conversion. So just heave it into the end zone. I suppose maybe those kids had been taught the same lesson over there in Rice Lake.
Yeah.
So Edgar's first time with the ball, and they're going to see a 3 come on the down marker. Again, that game live at ZaleskiSports.com. So as we supplement your action here tonight.
Wanakee leads 3-0 over Kimberly. You know, I could probably follow the other 8-man semifinal.
If it's available. I don't know. I didn't look that one up.
I think that's Wabeno, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't look it up.
I gotcha.
Yeah, thank you. So Edgar converts the 3rd down into a 1st down. Let's see. We got Patty looking for a game. Did you start the game yet? Patty, I'm telling you, If it were that easy. Oh, Stratford, she says. Yeah, sure, Patty, that's on. We're watching it over here, as a matter of fact. They're right there on the screen.
Stratford's in the red zone. Stratford at the 5-yard line.
Got the ball back pretty quickly.
Yep.
Did the Tigers. Again, that defense has been getting better all season long. I remember showing up. This was the day before scrimmage over in Stratford to do Coach on the Couch with Jason Tubbs. And I remember walking onto the practice field, and I looked at the kids on the team, and they looked small. And it just looked unlike Stratford teams of recent times anyway. Now, again, we had a 6'5", Ben Barton. We had a 6'6" receiver. We had other guys, 6'2", 6'3". Those didn't seem to exist on this year's team. But they have got better all season long. And here they are in a level 3, and it looks like defense is dominating so far for the Stratford Tigers. So again, scores surround us. Wanakee on the board with the field goal. Thank you, Dan. Getting that one filled out. Colby Aquinas still scoreless. They play in the first quarter. Edgar trying to use some speed, but Regis got speed too.
Yeah, Edgar's doing a good job moving the ball. A lot of play action passes out to the flat, which probably on video, maybe Regis struggles with that a little bit. Not the normal running between the tackles that we've seen from the Wildcats a lot of this year.
Okay, so that is the plan that Coach Sins and company have decided to employ here tonight. So after seeds are assigned, everybody in the group is required to send tape of their last 2 football games, Week 8 and Week 9. So that's what everybody has had to look at. And then if you were able to find some extra games, you've got that. But Week 8 and Week 9, which, Dan, I think would give a pretty good synopsis of what you're heading into against a team. There's nothing that you did in Week 8 or Week 9 that you wouldn't continue doing into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I believe the Stratford winner gets Coleman St. Mary Springs.
They do.
Okay, so I put that on there for us.
Okay. All right. Good thinking.
Well, that's a great catch.
Well, scooped it off the turf there. And again, so our hope here is that, at least at this point, turn on Edgar Regis if you haven't already, and then just, if nothing else, you get the scores here, so you can watch our broadcast here for the scores.
Regis up 6-0. Coleman up 6-0. Rice Lake 6-0. Wanakee 3-0. Newman 6-0. No such thing as field goal kickers this level. Everybody's going for 2.
Looking for points, right?
Yeah.
A lot of teams probably feel they're going to need points to advance. And then the math, right? The analytics talk about going for 2. Always seems to support it a lot.
Stratford was down to the 5. Now they are back at the 20.
So Edgar has called a timeout on first down. Must have been slow getting the play. River Falls and West Appear going at it. So a game, or a industry partner of ours. We had Marshfield and West Appear last week. Obviously a game River Falls won, as they have advanced here to level 3. Stratford and Grantsburg, yes. Everybody go to ZaleskiSports.com. People continue to ask about that game. So ZaleskiSports.com, just click on the game that you want to watch. It's that easy.
We're working with partners over there.
We are. We've got a partner. So the other thing you can do is just you go to YouTube and just type in Stratford Grantsburg and just hit enter. It'll take you right to the game. It's crazy easy to do. YouTube makes it that way. That's why it's as popular as it is. It's really easy to use.
Pirates scroll on the bottom. They just talk about their team. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I knew you were going to bring that up too. I thought about not showing you this stream. It is neat. We have the same technology. We use a little bit different software than they do.
Scores. What if the scores were just scrolling?
Yeah, well, again, it takes people.
Carter Butts running over people inside the 10.
So I didn't get to see past the 30 because, again, all these dads have their heads out the window to my right and don't allow me to see past the 30-yard line. I guess there must not be any seats left in the bleachers down there.
Right.
Which would make sense then. So, well, what I've seen so far, a lot of talk about Xander Rocco, for good reason. Division I collegiate football player next year. What I've seen, though, between the 30 and this side of the football field, Carter Butt's been as good a running back here so far.
So Stratford turned it over on downs. They decided to not kick the 37-yard field goal.
Okay.
Carter Butt, a yard short, he fumbled the ball.
Yeah, he's got to be key reached, right? I think our side judge is going to mark him down.
No,
he didn't. And well, hold on here. They're going to come in and talk. Going to be a conversation, which is warranted. It's a big play.
It looked like Carter hit the ground, tried to reach for the goal line.
No, they're going to keep Edgar with the ball.
I think that's a good call, actually.
Well, it was close. I don't know if you can turn that one on. We may have a replay of it. If you've got that one up already.
I don't think I have it.
Yeah, well, and you said, why would I? We're here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it doesn't matter at this point.
Newman and Siren playing in Chippewa Falls. They don't have the 8-man sidelines up, so looks like everybody's standing on the field.
Oh, right. Walk in for Carter Butt to tie it.
Is Coach Sims going to take the point in the lead? What do you think?
No, he's going to go for 2.
Does he always go for 2 first?
I think so. And then see where the math takes you after that. And it looks like the offense is staying on the field. So let's see. Rice Lake up over on Alaska. Newman over Siren again. You can see those scores for yourself.
I should probably watch them. Onalaska's up now. Let me update.
So the Hilltoppers came right down the field to take the lead with the made extra point.
Yep.
Tegan Strite is just running arcade style back and forth.
Oh, there's a guy wide
open. Well, there
open.
has to be. He had 12 seconds to scramble. I don't know what a newspaper writes about that, and I guess that all depends later if that becomes significant in the game. But that was a 12. Okay, I won't exaggerate. That was a 7-second scramble.
Oh, at least.
Yeah, 7-8 seconds. Tegan Strite, and he just went back and forth, just like you would on a video game, until he found somebody open.
Yeah, the line did a good job, gave him a lot of time. He probably ran about 35 yards left, and then more than that.
Yeah, probably near 100 yards.
Yeah, and he had 2 or 3 people open in that part of the end zone.
Yeah,
because you never make that pass across field. So
Brandon's watching. Hey, Brandon, how are you? Good seeing you, buddy. All right, so Edgar takes the lead, and our score sheet reflects that.
Kimberly got a touchdown.
Dan, this is a funny story, I think anyway. We're on the public network here, so everybody in the stadium has access to it.
Yep.
And every time there's a score, there's a delay. There's a little bit of downtime, and so the internet availability goes like this, and then it comes back up as soon as the kickoff is going to be ready again. Makes sense. Everybody's checking their phone. I don't know what they're checking. You're at the game. Watch the game.
Well, I mean, you want to check your Facebook.
Yeah, and see what somebody on Instagram said about you. And
your Twitter.
Your Snapface. Bill Belichick, famously a few years ago, trying to reference the social media thing, called it Snapface.
Yeah, he's with the times.
And I don't know if that was intentional or if that was tongue-in-cheek. I don't know. Bill is pretty sly. I'm actually a fan of Bill Belichick. Now, I'm not a fan of the cheating, but I'm a fan of everything else.
Hey, he's a winner.
Bill.
Right?
He is. You think back to his days with the Cleveland Browns and the family he came from. His dad was a Hall of Fame, I think a high school Hall of Fame football coach. And the best thing that Bill Belichick ever did, so if we all remember, we think back to May of 2020, the NFL draft was virtual. It was all done on a Zoom call somewhere. And it became apparent early that the teams, as you went around the league and they showed their settings, everybody was going to flex, big flex. Jerry Jones had his $1 billion yacht, and that's where they had their camera set up. And it was all these NFL folks showing off all their stuff. He had Sean McVay in Los Angeles. He had his swimming pool out the backyard as his background. It was a big flex for a lot of people. Bill Belichick, though, more of a simpler man. And they cut to Bill's camera maybe the second or third time. After he had figured out what everybody else was doing, he was at his kitchen table the whole time. So they cut back to his camera about an hour or so into the draft. He had his husky pup sitting at the table.
Yeah.
He was nowhere to be found. I mean, that's the kind of guy Bill is. So I think he knows very well it's not called snap face. But it was a fun thing for him to say at a press conference once. The other thing fun to say is, whoever the next opponent for the Patriots, say it's the Bengals. I think that's what it was, too. We're moving on to the Bengals. Somebody asked him about the game. We're moving on to the Bengals. A lot of action there, a lot of motion.
No, it was really interesting. So Regis has the ball. Quarterback goes under center, and the entire front four for Edgar took 2 yards back, and a linebacker moved up to the ball.
Trying to create confusion for the Regis offensive line, I suppose.
I guess so. Regis just rushed it at him for 6 yards.
Well, that's what you do, right? As soon as they back up, just snap the ball and go.
Regis has not thrown the ball yet.
Well, and why would you? They've been able to march up and down the field on the ground. Looks this Dan looks similar to one of those Hurley games from last year. But Rocco is just a man on the field. He's a man. It's a full-grown man out there playing high school football.
I think he picked up one of the Wildcats and threw him off to the side.
We may have just picked him up and ran with him and then just gently set him down afterwards. Here you are.
Big play for Onalaska. Ooh.
So the Hilltoppers are going to make a house call, and they're going to go up 13-6.
Yep.
Extra point pending in La Crosse County.
Well, it's D2, so they have a kicker.
You think so? Well, I said they did last time. Yeah. Okay.
I think that was an offensive play that just got broke for about 80 yards, 85 yards.
Yeah, Dan, it looks a lot like...
Looks a lot like Colby.
A lot like Colby, yeah. A lot like Hurley from last year, where these Wildcats are undersized in this game. Now, there are ways to figure that out, but they are undersized right now.
Well, 3rd and 1 from the Edgar 31. Onalaska got the extra point. Looked like the ball was on the ground as he kicked it.
Ooh, I've seen that before. You try to UFO it through the uprights.
Yep.
And see
it barely got over.
See if you can figure out a way to slice it through there.
Regis going for the pylon.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no stopping.
Rocco again.
Yeah.
Now, there are people east of here who tell us Xander Rocco is a Thorpe Cardinal. He's not.
Well,
but there's some hard feelings about that.
A Thorpe resident, maybe.
There are some hard feelings about that, and but it's understood, I think. But yeah, I mean, we saw him at state baseball. Regis in the state baseball tournament this past spring, Xander, and even on the baseball diamond, Dan, he just was a big fella out there, in all the best ways. All the best ways. I got to grab. Not liking our internet situation here anymore, so we're going to just remedy that with our own.
Okay.
It's gotten progressively worse.
Regis does not convert the 2-point conversion.
So they're 0 for 2 are the Ramblers on 2-point conversions here in this game. We'll keep an eye on that. That could be.
If you keep stopping them on 2-point conversions, you only have to score one less touchdown.
Eventually, right?
Yeah.
Eventually.
Math.
So we'll see how the game turns out, but that's a newspaper headline in the making. Regis 0 for 7 on 2-point conversions falls to Edgar. Probably won't happen though.
We are sharing our press box with newspaper people.
Very happy to. I come from the newspaper industry.
It's in your blood.
It's funny you said that. That's an exact text from my dad this morning. It's an exact thing he said. The newspaper is in my blood.
Kimberly, another touchdown. 14-3 over Wanakee.
See? He's going to think I'm making this up. There it is at 9:06 this morning.
Yeah.
Newspaper is in my blood, says Doug.
Colby takes the lead.
So they score first.
Nope, they're up 7-6.
Oh, they okay. 2 games in La Crosse County tonight. 2 level 3 football. It is. So there could be 3 level 3 games in La Crosse County tonight. That's a completely. It's a stat that'll get you nowhere.
I should have thought about this, but Colby and Aquinas have the same colors.
Well, the same colored helmets for sure. Gold.
Same pants.
Yeah, Aquinas, they are the blue golds, so they'll have some blue.
They're the home team, so they were dark.
Which confuses me because everybody knows that my favorite football team, the Dallas Cowboys, almost always wore white at home. They didn't last week, Dan, against your Bears, though. We had both both darks on the field yesterday or on Sunday last week.
Yeah, they did it on purpose.
What was the reason? To confuse me?
No, they agreed to it. I don't know.
Oh.
Aquinas just got in the end zone.
It's all about jersey sales. I can already tell the answer.
I saw that Ezekiel Elliott spoiled the Thanksgiving surprise, right, of the helmets.
Leave it to Zeke. You know, he's such a happy-go-lucky young fella.
Your boys are doing good. They got a good squad this year.
I've liked them more and more each week, is what I'll tell you. I like them this week a lot. They're on the bye.
Regis just hit straight out of bounds, another 15.
Yeah, he was kind of sliding at the same time. I'm not a big fan of some of the late hit calls. Speaking of the NFL, not a fan of that at all. We had one that reversed an interception in our game on Sunday. Defensive line guy comes in like this to swat the ball and taps the top of the helmet. Flag comes out, interception reversed. I don't know. Intent, but they've put a blanket rule on it. There's no more intent.
Yeah, you'd think that there would be an intent part of that, but
there's not. You touch, especially that you touch the helmet in some way, shape, or form, and no good.
Well, I mean, I think that if that were the case, then the guys would have to sell it like they do in soccer, where it looks like guys get hit by snipers.
Oh, yeah, and you fly 10 yards backwards or something.
The NBA is very similar, too.
One of the reasons I don't like the NBA, there's hundreds, really. There are hundreds. And there's not one single one. It's a culmination for me of all of them.
Into the first quarter here in Eau Claire.
Well, everybody has ran the ball. We've only had one pass in the game, and that was a 2-point conversion. So the clock wasn't moving. But all runs here at Carson Park in Eau Claire. And we move to the second quarter. Stratford in the second quarter, scoreless Stratford. That game starting to have tones of Wittenberg, where they went. I'm not even sure if anybody scored in that first half of that game.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Very low-scoring game. I know Stratford finished off the game on an 8-minute drive without scoring to end the game. It's tough to do.
Let's say Gransburg is driving the ball. They're down to the Stratford 30. Still no score over there.
So this is probably their fourth look at the Stratford defense. They may have been able to figure out something by now.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch this Unalaska game very much. I can see things written on their jerseys.
The camera work is just really bad. Really bad. And who is that? But, yeah, there's, like, in the movie, oh, geez. Why I can never remember names of movies, even the really good ones. The Tom Hanks and the Women's Baseball League, what was that?
League of Their Own?
League of Their Own, thank you. There's no crying in baseball. There is no zooming during a football play with the camera. Once the play starts, you do not zoom the camera. You just don't.
What if it's in the far corner?
You wait. No, after the play is done, then you zoom it in. Because it's dizzying to watch. On a computer screen, which is, most of these high school games are although that's changing with the folks learning how to use their smart TVs. But still, it's dizzying. I suppose maybe it probably is even worse on the big screen TV. All of a sudden you go flying into the football field from your couch. It's not good.
St. Mary Springs takes a 7-6 lead over Coleman.
So Bob Hyland going for his 505th win, I believe is what that'll turn out to be. If he goes on to win. I think he's on 504 right now. Still the only high school coach I've ever heard of that on his 500th win got escorted off the field by police. Now, not in celebration, but in ejection. And then he wouldn't leave the field He was escorted off by the police. The votes had already been cast. He was also, the following day, named as the Green Bay Packers Coach of the Week on an ejection.
So
Obviously, he's a fiery guy, though. He's a fiery guy.
That's what I hear.
Well, yeah, that's what they say. Especially you do something like that. He's a fiery guy.
Edgar got called for holding, so they are second and a long way from the back stick.
In Regis territory to begin the second quarter. But yes. All right, I'm gonna attempt a maneuver that most people should not. And that's to change Wi-Fi right in the middle of a broadcast. Let's see if I can do that. Otherwise, I may wait till halftime. I think it's working. Oh boy, fumble, and it's going to be third and around 30 plus.
35, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Taylor Strait just rolled to his left, and the ball hit off his leg a little bit. So he wasn't even touched when he fumbled it. He was able to get it back, so.
Well, yeah, only because he was that far behind the line of scrimmage. He was still the closest to the ball by the time it was bouncing around.
Third and 36.
Yeah, long ways.
You know what I would do here? Punt. No, like go from the shotgun, just punt it down there, like pin them, right? You're not going to get 36 yards. You were just showing me that the other day.
Yeah. The Eagles punting on third down.
You're not going to get 36 yards. You don't get the free penalty in high school.
It's not a punt.
Yeah, horse collar.
Well, I don't know. They may, Butt had some face mask too. We'll see what they call here, Dan. Personal foul. Oh, Dan is right. I'm wrong.
Not an automatic first down, though, is it?
Nope. So they'll run third down again from 3rd and 20.
Yeah.
After the personal foul, the best you can come up with is 3rd and 20. That first down is just such a dagger. It's just such a killer. That first down on those penalties.
College, NFL, those are all automatic first downs no matter what.
Right. Yep. It's just such a blow. It's such a gut shot when those happen. I have no idea what happened, Dan. I can't see a thing through the dads.
He threw into triple coverage, incomplete.
Okay. All right. So there is.
I'll tell you what. We just had
fourth down coming.
Six guys at the first down line.
Yeah, and that's the right thing to do. That deep.
Coach Sin should punt this, I think. I think he will punt.
The only thought against that is we may not stop them anyway, so maybe we should just go for it. It could be the opposing thought. And it looks like the offense is on the field.
Plus, you're at the 33, so if that goes in the end zone, 13 yards.
I would say to this point, Coach is probably thinking we probably can't stop them with our defense anyway.
Oh, my goodness. Jump ball.
Yeah. The receiver overran it coming back for it. Ball was in the air a long time. Long time. It's a tough one to get under.
Honestly, let him catch it.
The defense?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, if you can't get it, intercept it. You gain 30 yards. You're asking the impossible of kids in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, so tough.
Newman, we had a lot about the people complaining about seeding and the computers don't know what they're doing and, we're the 4 and we beat the 3 seed and on and on. You know what? We're in level 3. The best 2 teams in each section are playing each other.
Yeah, this is going to get solved on the field from this point forward, no matter what your seed is. And as a matter of fact, to your point, it doesn't matter what your seed is anymore anyway. Not in level 3.
Yeah. I think being the road team mattered a lot more 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But now everyone's taking coach buses, and it's actually fun. You go to school early, you hang out with your guys for a couple hours. Yeah, it's really not that bad of a thing. Rocco's going to have 300.
We're up to now. Well, you just have total. No, yards. How many yards? Yeah.
Our newspaper friend's doing math.
So 70 yards through a quarter and a half, give or take. It's pretty good.
Unofficially official.
Unofficial, yeah. Yep, rough guesstimates and all
That's
that
what I
type
told
of thing.
Tom King when he was taking stats.
Unofficially?
He said, unofficially, that's 100 yards. I said, unofficially official. Yeah. Some teams are really good at getting their stats in. Stratford is heading for the goal line just short.
Just short. There were flash bulbs popping everywhere, though. Not a big fan of the flash photography at sporting events.
Where is Grantsburg?
It's nearly to Minnesota. It's so it's north of St. Croix Falls, and it's a long ways away. It's a long ways away from anywhere. So Stratford had something like a 3.5-hour bus ride.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can understand why we were very happy to have an industry partner already in Grantsburg to broadcast this game. It just made total sense. And then that same network includes Siren, so we were happy then to do the Siren Newman game, and everybody gets what they want. Everybody gets everything.
People get to watch the game for free. That's what matters.
That's the bottom line. If you're not able to get to Grantsburg, and not many are, happy to do it.
What do you think about our friends in Grantsburg here, the futuristic font?
Well,
it's like we're watching games in the year 2040.
or in 1960 when they were projecting 1990.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it looked like. Yeah, it looks nice. You know, I would that scoreboard's a little too center of the screen for my liking. It's taking up a lot of good real estate there, but it's nice. They do a really good job. We Are Network, 12 schools that they have committed themselves to showing as many games as they can find over in the northwestern part of the state, and they do a really nice job. Aquinas 14-7, that's what we have. All games in the second quarter. I haven't heard from anybody yet that they want something different than what we're already showing them.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kimberly is embarrassing Wanakee right now. St. Mary's Springs up 13-6 over Coleman. Coleman made it to the state finals last year in Division 7. They beat Regis.
Beat Regis in a level 4 contest. That's right.
I think they lost to Kenosha or someone.
At state, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
We're 2 weeks from state. We are 3 days from basketball starting.
Girls basketball practice at most places will be on Monday. Still, the teams that were at volleyball state this week, they'll have to wait a few more days to start their basketball practice.
When I was a coach, we coached obviously at a place that had a lot of volleyball success. And we played, but we just didn't have the volleyball girls play.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Practice for the first week or whatever.
Yeah, I misstated that. Some teams will wait, depending on who you're waiting on. Some teams will end up waiting. But yeah, basketball practice is allowed to begin on Monday for the girls, and then a week from Monday for the boys. Again, for most operations, West Appear 10-0 over River Falls. Okay. Not sure what to think about that. River Falls, I was told coming into last week's Marshfield game was a defensive-minded team, although they scored plenty against Marshfield.
I think Stratford got the touchdown. They're lining up for what looks like an extra point. Could be a field goal.
They're snapping from the 2, unless that's just where the third or fourth down was spot. No, there's no down markers on, so they just haven't updated the score on the broadcast. But 8-0, it looks like Stratford up over Grantsburg.
How about 7-0?
7. Sorry.
Yeah,
I was doing Australian rules.
Aussie rules.
Which means an Australian person that doesn't know anything about football.
So I have YouTube TV, and
Yeah,
and
so do I.
And I'm up late sometimes, right? And 11 o'clock, 11:30 rolls around. You scroll down deep in the channel list because it's all like reruns of Sports Center and everything. There are Aussie rules football games all the time.
I've seen a couple.
Not anymore because I think the finals are this week or something.
So their season is ending.
Yeah, I have employees actually in Australia, and they have a couple days coming off for the horse race. They have a really famous horse race. They get at least one day, maybe 2 days federal holiday.
That's pretty good for
Yeah.
a football game.
It's a horse race. Same
Or
with
a
football
horse race,
game.
sorry, a horse
Yeah.
race. A horse race of all things.
Yeah.
That reminds me of, we're talking about Stratford, the Stratford School District for a long time, going back almost 30 years. The day after the Super Bowl, that Monday, there's no school.
Yeah, it should be a holiday.
Stratford's way ahead of the curve is what you're telling me. Colby Aquinas tied at 14.
Yep.
All right. So
Colby was just on their own 5, so they must have had a big one. Regis looks like they're in again.
They are. So we think back to the 3rd and 35 that Edgar put themselves into and not able to score. So you'd said if you can make your 2s and they don't make theirs, that can come into a factor later. But at some point, Dan, Edgar is going to have to stop Regis. Otherwise, you can make all the 2-pointers you want. It's not going to, math won't be with you.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty important that Edgar scores this next possession.
Yep. So Regis is 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns here in this level 3 football game. So that's pretty good.
Do you think 19-8 would be scoregami?
No.
19-8 is pretty odd.
Yeah.
I mean, not high school. It was the NFL.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it is. There's a website that you put in the score and it tells you if it is one or not.
Yeah, I was looking at it. There's some scores that you think that would have hit at some point in NFL history. For those that don't know what scoregami is, it's a score that's never happened before.
Yeah, For more than that, it's a chart of all final scores that could happen. So it goes on into infinity, right? But the main bulk of it is double digits, and 99 is the end of the scale. And they went back through NFL history and charted all the scoring. That's the final scores that have ever happened. And so scoregami is filled out to about 92%. There's very few opportunities left to have a final score that's never happened before. But we had a scoregami in the NFL last year. I forget who it was.
There might have been one this year too, actually.
Yeah, the one I remember from last year, it was, both teams were in the 30s or 40s, and that's where most of the scoregamis lie right now, is both teams with high scores. There are a couple low. 4-1 is, I think, the lowest scoregami available, or 2-1, 2-1 and 4-1. And you say 1 point, Zaleski, you can't score 1 point in an NFL football game. Well, yes, you can.
Yeah, we just talked about this.
It is the most unlikely. That's why that scoregami box.
It's a safety and a 2-point conversion.
It's a safety on a 2-point conversion. So you think of how unlikely that is, because in the NFL, almost always, barring a penalty, your 2-point conversion takes place from the 2-yard line. So that safety is 98 yards away. So that's why it's never happened. You would have to have a series of personal fouls, and you'd have to have 6 personal fouls before you ran a play.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe.
I can't imagine how it could happen.
So what if there's a fumble? They take it all the way back. They fumble into the end zone, and the other team gets it. Maybe, I don't know.
It would be a really strange series of events. So, but the one.
Yes.
Well,
6-1.
At that point, right.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. It would have to be 6-1 would be the least number you could have. If one team had 1, you would have to have had 6 then. No, that's true. It's just math.
But, I thought I saw a 2-1 being possible somehow, and I don't know.
That wouldn't make any sense to me. But it's a lot of talk about something that'll probably never happen.
Yeah.
We in level 1 though, we almost had a 4-0. In level 1, it was Everstead Hudson. Dan and I were there with Chris Conley. It was 2-0.
2-0 Everest.
And then Hudson had the ball, and they were in there. They were passing from their own end zone, and I thought there was a holding. He almost got sacked. I mean, we were inches away. Yep. So fumble Edgar. Carter Butt gets blasted.
He was hit really hard.
He was hit very hard, and got hit and fumbled the ball.
Looks like the floodgates are opening here in Eau Claire a little bit.
Well, if Regis scores, the floodgates will have opened.
Yeah, I mean, not too unexpected, I would say, right? Regis is a powerhouse. I think that everybody in Edgar knows that we're maybe a year away from Edgar being a powerhouse. Still a pretty young team.
Yeah, a lot of juniors and sophomores, and it's going to be one play, Dan.
Yep.
So this one has got a chance to run away right now.
25-8.
Yeah, 25-8 before halftime, and a lot of sunken shoulders. The Edgar kids, they've obviously watched film. They've seen the games. They know what they were heading into here, and what they saw on film has now happened in front of them to them. And so that's a stark realization. You envision yourself playing a really good football team like Regis is, and you're able to rationalize it by saying, well, yeah, but they beat this team or they beat that team. That's not us. And now you come in here and it's 25-8 against us, or 26-8. The 2-point conversion or extra point was good. So now it is us that's getting beat like that. And now that realization begins to set in, that it looks like what we saw on film that happened to those people, we're not really any different than those people.
Yeah, we talked a lot about what these brackets would look like, right? You're able to map out all the possibilities of the schools and the playoff entrance, and then try to figure out like what 8 teams would go with Edgar, what 8 teams would go with Stratford, right? And we definitely thought that it was possible for Edgar and Regis to get mapped up, or maybe Edgar would go more east instead of going west. And when we saw Regis 1, Edgar 2, I don't know about you, but just in the pit of me, it was like, man, a level 3 matchup would be a really good result for Edgar to get there.
To get to the level 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That would be a good conclusion to their season.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and they are headed that direction right now.
Still a lot of time, but yeah, it's getting late early, I would say.
It is, and there was a lot of time, and there was a lot of time for Regis to score more at the same time. And again, they're 4 for 4, 4 possessions, 4 touchdowns, and there has been nothing that has happened out here that says Edgar is pretty close to figuring it out.
I don't think they've thrown yet. I don't think Regis has thrown a pass.
Yeah, so there's a lot of time left, but there's very little time for Edgar, though, to figure out a way to turn it around. They've likely need to keep Regis from scoring again. I'll just say it.
Newman's up 14-0. They're trying for more. Friend of the show, Connor Kroc.
Yeah, you can see that yellow rope. Remember I was telling you about the yellow rope? There's the yellow rope there on Dorius Field. They put that in a lot of places, including the 8-player All-Star game, which we've broadcast a number of years now. They do it a lot of places, including there. And Dorius has a home 8-player football team. And still, though, the rope for the boundary on the sidelines.
That's great camera work by the Zaleski sports crew over there.
I wasn't watching, was it? No?
No.
Okay.
No.
I sense some sarcasm in your voice.
The punt went off, and the camera just stayed there, and then it went back quick.
Oh, it's good stuff. Good stuff. And the other half of this equation, well, now there's whistles on the field.
Yeah, Regis forced another fumble, but they called him down.
The other part of this, I can't even call it a comeback. The other part of this, I guess, end game scenario for Edgar is they've had some trouble moving the ball. They've scored 1 touchdown. They've moved the ball on the other drives to some extent, but they've also had some trouble moving the ball. Offensively, the teams are at opposite ends of the flow of this game, and that's been the difference.
3rd and 7. And that went nowhere.
Yeah, it's going to be 3rd and 6.
It's going to be 4th and 6. Newman up 21-0. Newman, the state's longest winning streak. Not going to be an issue tonight.
So they came into the playoffs with 24 straight, 23 or 24 straight coming into this year's playoffs, and now this will be the third win. So I suppose they sit now at 26 straight victories. Some fight, some don't have to fight. So just a Cardinal is just good enough. Good for most.
Again, a lot of these Edgar Wildcats are back next year. Most of the, well, I don't want to say most of the offense because it's also the defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yep, offense is the defense. That's true.
Trying to keep everybody updated with these scores. On Alaska, another touchdown, 2014 now. Stratford, I missed it. They got a touchdown up 13-0.
Okay.
We thought Stratford had the best chance out of our local teams to advance to level 4.
Yeah, and for 11 player anyway, and that's looking exactly like we thought that it would. To this point, I just watched an inside screen to Rocco. Dan, he's bigger than everybody else. He's faster than everybody else, and he's more skilled than everybody else on this football field anyway.
It's a pretty good formula.
Yeah.
And now Regis just showing off as they're throwing it downfield. Everyone's open.
Yep, got the deep slants. First pass or second pass, they've passed it now twice in a row. Well, hold on here.
They took a timeout.
We're going to take a timeout.
There's 20,
okay. Well, again, I can't see. I've got all the dads.
Seconds.
I got 3 dads standing directly in the way of my clock here. I have no idea what the clock says. But but good thing you can see.
Are they drinking over there?
They could be. Yeah, and if they are, well, never mind. I shouldn't say.
More power to them.
Well, I can tell you this. It wouldn't be the first time that such things were had at Carson Park.
A tip pass. Stratford Tigers returning the interception the other way inside the 20. He's going to go all the way. Pick 6.
Look he threw on the brakes, and then his blockers caught up, and Stratford, I'll say, beginning to run away with it over in Grantsburg.
Yeah.
I'll just
the old Wile E. Coyote move.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Warning, Dan. So what do we have here? 49 seconds?
Yeah.
Is that what that says? Okay. I'm reading backwards through the reflection.
Yeah. It looks like a different language this way.
We are going to be the halftime entertainment
Great.
coming up on a couple of broadcasts, so just
Can't wait.
Be ready for that. Thought I should tell you before it happens.
Stratford now up 19-0.
Extra point pending. It looks like a 2-point conversion, so they like the round numbers going to 21.
Yeah. Now, Stratford is a good ball club this year. Started out a little bit slow, kind of a tough conference, tougher than what most people would think.
We've got Coleman and St. Mary Springs trailing or leading Coleman at the half. Thank you, Dan.
Yes.
13-6. The Ledgers, right? St. Mary Springs Ledgers.
I'm not sure.
It is. The Ledgers.
We did their game last year in basketball.
We did. Down at Concordia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure we did. I believe it's a Ledgers, which I don't know what that means, the Ledgers.
Yeah, the tax people, accountants.
It fits, doesn't it? I mean, it fits. Yes. Where's my ledger? So let's say something we can talk about here is Regis, again, just pours it on here in the first half. May have a running clock in the second half. That has not happened to Edgar in many years.
I would be
many years.
surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah, and I talked to Coach Sins about that. That may have been off camera about running clock, and he thought somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 years ago. So it's been a very, very long time, if it were to happen. But we'll be in that thought process to begin the second half, I think. So let's just carry this out here. Say St. Mary Springs goes on to win. They beat Coleman, leading Coleman at halftime. Stratford, you know what? I'm going to save this for halftime because there's going to be some folks joining us for half. I'm going to save that, but It's going to be an interesting thing to talk about, and probably be talked about up until Monday. Then they won't talk about it anymore. But we'll be the first to talk about it, for what that matters.
Is this breaking news?
No, it's speculation.
Okay.
It's fun to do, though. It's fun to do. At level 4, football sites are neutral.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about that upcoming, should there be a Stratford and Coleman. Either way, right, Grantsburg or Stratford, St. Mary Springs, Coleman, there's going to be a long road trip for somebody. If Grantsburg were to win, that'd be a really long road trip for them to go anywhere. It wouldn't matter who it's against. Coleman or St. Mary Springs. Because Coleman is about as far east as you can get from Grantsburg, because you're nearly in Lake Michigan by the time you get to Coleman.
Yep.
And Grantsburg is on the St. Croix River, bordering Minnesota.
It could be like a Merrill.
Well, we're going to talk about that coming up at half. I think
Okay,
it's a good conversation to have. So save your powder.
Yeah.
So 52 seconds or 25? 52. That doesn't sound right. There was 49 last time. 25, okay. Yeah. I'm reading backwards.
Yeah.
And it's a 2 and a 5, and it's the same number backwards.
For those Mosinee fans who watched River Falls last week, right? Or is that Rice Lake?
Rice Lake.
Marshfield played River
Marshfield
Falls.
played River Falls, yeah.
River Falls is down 24 at the half.
Yeah, that's a surprising score. This score isn't surprising. It's just maybe a little unexpected this early in the game to a lot of folks watching from central Wisconsin, but it's not. A 33-8 coming up on the scoreboard during the game shouldn't surprise anybody in this one. You may be upset about it. That's okay. You can have feelings. I won't keep you from your feelings.
It's halftime here.
We have reached halftime here as the Ramblers jubilantly run off the field.
They should. It was a great half for them.
Well, they're rambling off the field.
Yeah.
Yes, Ramblers roll raucously off the field. I could be a copywriter. I could probably do that job. Do you have Brian, Ron? Yeah, you just guys, you go to YouTube, you type in Grantsburg Stratford, you hit enter. Don't make it complicated. I think you're trying to make it complicated. Or you go to ZaleskiSports.com and you click on it. You just click it just like that, and it just comes up. Just make it simple. It's the way to do it. Okay, well, Dan, we'll begin a version of a halftime show here as we're live from Carson Park. You've got Jason Zaleski here, Dan Ross doing what he does best, spreadsheets. That's at least what I've been told anyway.
That's my life.
Yep, he gets away from work, but he's still the spreadsheet follows him around. So we have the scores surrounding us. One of the things that I have been waiting to talk about here at halftime is Stratford leads Grantsburg 21-0. And St. Mary Springs, the Ledgers lead Coleman 13-6. So St. Mary Springs, Fond du Lac, Stratford north of Marshfield. Now Stratford has played at a neutral field all year long, or at least away from home all year long. Their football field, they had a community fundraiser that they thought was headed in the right way to put in a turf field during the spring. So they began to uproot the field. And then found out that was not going to happen this year, so they hurried to plant grass. But the way football fields are, that grass has got to root for over a year, over the winter anyway, to grip the dirt. And so they weren't able to play on it this year. So they've played all of their, quote, home games in Marshfield this year. And whether that be at Marshfield Senior High School or at the old city or the old middle school junior high football field, Beal Stadium. Homecoming was at Beal Stadium. Anyway, point being that Stratford has not had a home game all year. They will not have a home game all year, but they'll be, should they win, they're going to be looking for a neutral site to play their game on Friday coming up. So again, we math this out a little bit. Dan's moving some stuff here on our sheet. Delete the. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, now you got it cracking. So. So St. Mary Springs, Fond du Lac, and then you got Stratford. You begin to think of places to play that game. Now, the thing that most people don't consider, or maybe just don't know, is that for there to be a neutral site game, there has to be a willing host. You are not required to host anything as a school. And we find this out all the time because coming into a situation like this, you don't know who's going to play who next week. We still really don't know. So the WIA begins to make phone calls to look around and see, boy, do we have any volunteers from the school that are required to be available to host that game? So you think about this. So you got Stratford sitting in north central Wisconsin, and then St. Mary Springs in Fond du Lac. And so Waupaca, you begin to think of a turfed field. They like to have the turf fields for those games to go to state. You got Gerke and Stevens Point. Fond du Lac might complain about that a bit, being too close to Stratford, so they may lobby for somewhere else. But you got Waupaca, and then you're in Appleton after that, and that's going to be too close to Fond du Lac. So you start to think, and then the list gets really narrow. And then what happens if Waupaca says no? Then you got some issues.
Waupaca is big enough, and they got good administration over there.
They do. Trevor Leopold, athletic director, has he hosted a neutral site sectional final volleyball on Saturday last week, Xavier and Tomahawk. So, but you got to be available. You got to have the staff laying around there that says, you know what, I have nothing to do. I don't need to get paid any money tonight. I'm going to go work for 6 hours.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is. So Waupaca would be a natural place for that. Now, if Coleman, that's only a 7-point game. Coleman, say, comes back in the second half and wins, then you're in the Shawano, DC Everest, I guess, but that's getting pretty close to Stratford. But you begin to see the issues. And so the reason I bring this up, Dan, is I just want people to consider what that takes when you're talking about you have to find a neutral place. And why don't they just play there? Well, that place has to be agreeable to it. They have to have the volunteers to staff it, for one.
Yeah, we see it kind of the same in basketball too, right? When we get to the sectional semifinal and the sectional final, those are pre-populated years in advance, but sometimes it doesn't make any sense for two teams to each travel 3 hours away when you can meet half an hour for each, right?
Yeah.
And just the area of the state that we're in with Wausau and Stevens Point and Rapids, east against west, it's a natural spot for our area to have some really good games year in, year out. And I'm sure that we'll probably have a game at Everest and one at Gerke and I'm sure.
Marshfield seems to raise their hand often, being in the center of the state, having that turf facility for football. It makes them a good place. During winter sports, the large field house that they have makes them that. And they're main more so than just that center point in the state makes them makes the phone ring anyway for a place like that. So you go through. So those of you at home after tonight, and you're looking and asking, well, why is this here? Who's on the other half of the bracket from Regis? Who do we have that score? Or who's?
I will pull it up because I have room for someone, right?
Yeah, that'd be another good scenario here because we're pretty sure Regis is going to go on and win this game. I am anyway.
Pepin
so
and
so Pepin Alma Banger. I don't know if there's a score out there, but both are south of here, and so now you start to think about, well, okay, where is there a turf field south of Eau Claire but north of La Crosse, and those get pretty far and few between. Yeah, there are some, but you begin to think about those things, and so the word to the wise is, those of you at home, just before you go to running to Twitter or going to whatever complaint machine you like to complain on, just realize that those neutral sites on a map look reasonable, but that school has to be able to host it. They've got to be willing and able to host it, and that doesn't happen as often as you might think. Just because. So we had Mosinee in the mix recently on hosting, and the athletic director was at a wedding, and the school principal was out of town, and you start to piece together. Okay, well, there's nobody here. We're right in the middle of those two schools. Yes, we are, but there's nobody here. The school is empty on that Friday or Saturday. So Bangor leads Pepin Alma 27-0. The Pepin Alma team had been a high-scoring team all year too.
We saw them against Assumption. That was a really good game. Week 1,
week 2? 1 or 2, or it was early. Yeah, week 2, I think it was. So Dave wants Shawano to host a championship next Friday, neutral site. It's true. I mean, I think that'd be a phone call the WI would make if it is Stratford and Coleman. I think that would be a phone call to be reasonable to think that happens.
Coleman's way up there.
It's Lake Michigan. You go through Ocano, then you go to Pound, and then you go to Coleman. Then we're in Coleman now.
I always take 64 out there. It's like Marinette. You go through Metropolis's like mountain.
42 people in Mountain, Wisconsin.
It sounds like that's too many.
Let's see what Trevor's looking for. I was just checking out. Oh, okay. Are you taking us live? Yeah. I couldn't.
I have it linked.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So Trevor has diverted traffic to our
Trevor
show in here.
Zaleski. He is behind the camera almost every night for Zaleski Sports.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Yeah.
Behind the camera, behind the website, behind the social media. Yeah. Does a great
so
job.
if you want to complain, that's the guy right there.
When you send the message, a lot of people message the website, and that's what it's there for. We have it's actually a quick button that comes up, and they call it's a short form, but that's what they call it.
Yeah, I use it sometimes.
I ignore you when you do that. So, if you want something done really fast, really quick, and it's really meaningful, put on there, "Dear Trevor," and then type in your message, and you're more likely than anything to get a reply back if you just type in just something like Dan does.
It's always clever. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're like, what? It's dark in here. How do I get out? Or something like that. You said,
Maybe,
I don't know. I don't know what it was. It was kind of weird, and I just moved on.
So what are the Zaleski Sports plans next week? Is it going to be follow Stratford? What if Colby wins?
Well, yeah, those are great questions. So we've got our core teams that we follow all year long, and so they're up first. So Stratford would be one. Obviously, Edgar is one. And those types.
Newman, but we can't broadcast that one.
We will go to state. We will do highlights. But yeah, the rights fees are at this point not available to us. I don't know if we would or wouldn't pay, but we have not been offered a price to this point. I don't know. I've never, there's a lot of things I see a price tag on. I kind of scoff and walk away, right? But I don't know that anything is out of our reach. Be willing to talk anyway. So, yeah, so Stratford certainly would be in that mix. And then what we're looking for would be, obviously they're all going to be good matchups, right? Your game to go to state, winner goes to state. So what we're going to do is we're going to look to communities that are around us, and we're going to have all kinds of offers tonight. The messages will light up. Can you do this game? Can you do that game? And but we'll see. There's a financial component to it, as it turns out. A lot of the people around here like to get paid. They expect to get paid, actually. They don't just like it; they expect it. And so there's a financial component to it, but we're willing to listen to offers that you have. But yeah, Stratford would be a guarantee. And at this point, 21-0. I think we're already making plans. That's why I talked about where that site would be, just mainly somewhat for my own entertainment. I really think that West Salem Onalaska game, if that happens, I think that's going to be just a banger, as they say. Just a really good one.
Let's take a look at see how West Salem's doing tonight.
Yeah, I don't think we've had that game up. It's out of our area, but it's one that it caught my eye right when the brackets came out. Just the two schools being 11 miles away.
14-14.
And Notre Dame Academy won. Sorry, that's a 1 Onalaska, or West Salem is. So good job, Notre Dame Academy. You know what? In the press box, and we're kind of babies. I am in particular, but in the press box, it's not in my deer blind with a t-shirt and shorts for most of the week. Might have had a jacket on one of those nights, but went out today and I put pants on and I put 2 layers on, and an hour in I was already freezing cold. I'm like, I don't want to be sitting out here. So I made the radar my excuse. As soon as that rain got within 20 miles, I ran in. Rain's coming.
It rained all day in Wausau.
We had that about a 2-hour window from 9 to 11 in Marshfield where it didn't rain. So that's when I was out sitting there, and I got a roof over my head with the deer, but still.
When you called earlier today, we were at an estate sale. This has nothing to do with sports.
It's fine. It's a halftime show.
But there are few things stranger than going through someone's house and just looking at their cabinets.
So this was The Departed?
I have no idea
Probably.
what the situation was.
Yeah, probably.
But a lot of kids' toys, and I don't know. I'm not
that'd
sure.
be even worse.
I don't know.
Well,
I haven't heard of a disaster or anything, which is good. But it's just weird.
They may have won the lottery and then just said, we're just leaving. Put my sister in charge and sell whatever you want and keep it. Just keep the proceeds. And we just became millionaires. By the way, it's $1.5 billion jackpot tomorrow in Powerball. It seems like a lot of money to me.
If I win, I'm buying the company from you.
Okay, I'll let you.
You still have to run it.
Okay. So then you should buy and then hire me. Hostile takeover. Okay.
I'll make it worth your while.
All right. Okay. I don't even know the terms. Done. Deal. I just hope you win. I would do it just because if you won the lottery. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. We don't buy a lot of lottery tickets, but this does catch your fancy when it's $1 billion. Seems like a big number, but really, you have the same odds of winning that when it's at its whatever its minimum is, 20 million or something. It's still the same odds of winning, and still a lot of money. But the billion,
mathematically insignificant if you buy 1,000 or 1.
That's what they say.
It's still impossible.
It's what the math wizards say.
Doesn't stop me from buying a couple.
Well, and when the other one was at $1 billion earlier this year, that winner still has not come forward in that other one, the Mega Millions, the billion.
The one in Green Bay? What was it? Green Bay?
They won in Illinois. No, somebody from Illinois.
Yeah.
And still nobody has turned in the ticket.
In Des Plaines.
Yeah, nobody turned in the ticket, which means the person that won didn't know that they won. Knucklehead.
Could you imagine? I mean,
yeah,
they must know who
I
it is, right? I mean, the gas station has those tapes.
Well, yeah, if they go to look, but if the lottery office doesn't go to look, and I bet they don't because then they may be
then it goes to
liable to say or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think okay.
Some legalities in there.
Yeah, this is off topic, but I'm pretty sure that if you're an employee at that gas station, that you could probably make yourself $10 million making a phone call. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you'd have to. I mean, so what would be the scenario there? The most likely scenario is so I bought the ticket, I forgot I had the ticket, and then I threw it. It was in the trash, right?
Yeah.
It landed in the trash or something. Oh.
I wonder if they could go back to the exact second it was bought.
Oh yeah. Oh, the lottery office knows that. Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. So do you have to produce the ticket if you have the evidence that that's when you bought it, where it was at that second?
It says right on there. You have to have it. You got to have the ticket.
That's unfortunate,
isn't it, for that person?
Especially because, not to get political, there is no way that the state of Illinois is going to spend that responsibly.
Any of the 50 states and our territories, none of them are going to spend it responsibly.
I think it goes to communities as well. So I mean that would be good.
There are some other things.
Yeah,
there are some other.
But
things.
a lot of it just goes to the state.
Well, right, because the jackpot got reset. To be set aside now for the winner, and I don't know, but there's another drawing tomorrow. So $1.5 billion is up for grabs tomorrow. And
I may or may not
Saturday.
have tickets in my car.
Yeah, I don't. I'll have to remember. That's the thing. That's usually why I don't buy a lottery ticket, but once every 15 years. I just forget that it exists.
We won the lottery last drawing, $4.
So you got the Powerball. You get
Powerball plus one, I believe.
Plus one. Oh. Yeah, there's a lot of numbers. A lot of numbers. Okay. Oh, you were talking about the math of it all. Yeah. So they were talking about this Illinois one, and something to the effect that you would have had to have bought however many couple million combinations that there are, that you would have had to expended like $3 million in lottery tickets. The risk that why that's not a good idea.
Because
if you have that kind of money. If there are multiple winners, then you're going to lose. You could lose money.
Yeah, I read something about this. It's like 1 in 300 million or something, and it costs $2. So if you're the sole winner, you'd actually make money this time, right? Because
this time,
1.6 billion. The money is probably close to $1 billion, maybe like 900, 800.
Like maybe. the cash out. Yeah, probably 800 to 900 million.
So if you don't split it, you make $250,000.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to buy 300 million tickets, all different numbers.
That was the other part of it. You would need so many people to be able to buy the 3 million because you couldn't just stand there. So there was a drawing on Wednesday and the next is on Saturday. There's not enough time on the clock for one person to buy 300 million tickets.
Well, just imagine trying to figure out, like you'd have to have a computer program that would have every combination. Supercomputer stuff.
Yeah, and and then for that to work, that you'd have to have people that are doing the SAT score
filling the balls
on the tickets. So all the time you're spending. So, and that's why the odds are what they are, because the number. That's why there are as many numbers as there are. So you can't game the system. That's why it works like that. And why sometimes you get these just ridiculous amounts of money because it all rolls over because the odds are so high.
I love it.
All right, so second half is about to begin. Did we do our 3-minute reset here? We're full 12 minutes?
I think we're good to go.
Okay, so second half action just about upon us here. Thanks all for watching tonight. This is the Zaleski Sports Red Zone channel, sponsored by Security Health Plan. Promises kept, plain and simple. The Security Health Plan journey with us continues on during basketball season. Last year, folks got to watch All Access basketball, Columbus Catholic and Marshfield. This year, All Access takes place at Eau Claire Memorial High School, boys and girls basketball. And yeah, people will have a lot of fun watching that around here. It's a weekly show, comes out on Mondays, where you get to you go to practice with the Abes, the boys and girls, and then we go to a game each once a week. We package that up into a nice 20-25 minute show, and you watch that every Monday. We've got a production meeting this coming Monday. Dan in Eau Claire, we found our producer. Yeah, we're very happy for that. So we've got production meeting on Monday. And then first practice to be attended will be next week or 2 Wednesdays from now. So then the first show will come out, I guess, 3 Mondays from now. So close.
Coleman.
Monday, Thanksgiving, first show.
Coleman with a touchdown. They're going for 2 to tie it.
So all this talk about where Stratford might play, just forget all that. They got a whole half. There was only a 7-point game. Now you're telling me it's a tied for now.
2-point game.
Okay. 6-6-12. No.
It's like 14-12.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry.
That was not my fault.
Okay, yeah.
That was...
so you thought it was 13, then somehow under the cloak of night, they changed it to 14 during their halftime break.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Edgar starts with the ball, and so obviously you've got to score on the possession. That's first step. Because if you don't, you will almost assuredly face a run clock for the rest of the
game against River Falls.
Yeah.
West De Pere up 21-0. They go onside kick and get it right before the half.
You want to make sure it's the playoffs. Yeah. You want to make sure.
A big run for the Wildcats.
Yeah. Butt made a nice move in the hole. Still third down though, so much different than that Regis when they've got the ball. The first down or a second down conversion was often never in doubt in that first half. Even Edgar's got 2 nice runs and they're still on third down. So just a difference. That's the big difference in this game. That and the fact that Regis has not punted, has not had a turnover on downs or any other kind. They've scored 5 for 5. 5 possessions, 5 touchdowns. It's pretty remarkable. No matter who you are and who you're playing, that's pretty good. 5 for 5. So Aquinas with the second half lead to begin over Colby. Aquinas last year, Jackson Flottmeyer, a 5,000-yard passer. Just think about that, Dan.
5,000 yards last year?
Maybe his career. I don't know. He had more. He was the state leader in passing, and it wasn't
like
close.
12 games, like he's throwing 400 yards a game.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he throws a lot. I don't know. Maybe he had a lot of yards. I mean, whatever it was last year was like whoa. Like everybody went to double check because we had them in a level 4 game last year against Wittenberg-Burnhamwood, and so the stats came. We did our pre-work, and the stats came in. And everybody on the team went to run to recheck. People got calculators and abacuses and adding machines to figure out, is this right? So many yards. Maybe it was 3,000 some yards. It was a lot. Yeah, it had to be over 4,000. A lot. So anyway, Flottmeyer is senior this year. He's got his Blue Golds Hornets 20-14 to begin second half action down in La Crosse. Some quite stadium.
Oh, fumble.
Yeah, and Rocco's got it. And we will have a running clock. Oh, he waved to him, and there's no flag there. That should have been a flag. But Rocco waved to straight as he went into the end zone. So this one's over. Just a minute or so into 2 minutes into the second half. This one is done.
You're calling it.
Done.
31 points is too much.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm surprised they didn't throw a flag at that.
He waved to him. That's a flag at every level. It's not just a high school thing. That's a flag in the NFL. That's a flag on every level.
They faked the extra point?
Well, yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Okay. So not quite running clock. We're not quite there. Another Regis score, and we will be.
That was all kind of messed up because it looked like Edgar jumped. And I think maybe the holder took the ball away because they thought that they jumped. But in high school football, that's blown dead, so I'm not really sure. I can't imagine that the coaches on the sideline said, hey, let's do the fake extra point.
I don't think so either. It looked to me like the holder, it just got had a hair trigger or just something wasn't quite to his liking. In other news, we take a look at the scoreboard. Waunakee, last year's Division II state champions, starts 21 now worse. So they are up against it. The Makers in Waunakee lead 28-3, and the Division II champs playing in Division I football this year are on the ropes at home. And the Makers, folks in Neenah are probably still a little stung from last week, losing that game. I believe the score was 27-26. Game Neenah, I thought, had led a lot as we get State Representative Donna Roser watching. Hi, Donna. Good luck on Tuesday. Donna up for re-election.
I think she should win.
I mean, probably. I think the polls have her ahead. The Clark County Press has her ahead in their recent poll. So Kimberly, I thought had trailed for a large portion of that game against Neenah, but looked to go to where they have been a lot over the last 10 years in a Level 4 game next week and a trip to state on the line. Our only 8-player game that we have live is Newman 21, Siren nothing. That game on Zaleski Sports. And Belmont and Wabeno in a good one on the other half of that 8-player bracket. Both the winners there will play at State next week on Saturday in Wisconsin Rapids, to my information anyway. I don't think they changed that one. I think that's set in stone.
Yeah, I think that's set.
Yeah. On Alaska 20, Rice Lake 14. Rice Lake had dispatched Mosney a week ago, a game we had live. Yeah, River Falls scoreless. That is, not sure if I'm shocked or surprised. Somewhere in the middle of those two words. But 24-0. It's a tough one. Tough one if you're them.
I got rid of that game. I need to see where that's at.
Oh. Well, and at some point, Dan, we may start getting rid of the games on our scoreboard. I don't know. Or, just to save you the time of having to look up these scores, because some of these are going to get away.
Is that River Falls?
At River Falls, yeah. It is a live game. River Falls Sports has that.
Oh,
one
it's
live.
West of Pier, yeah.
West of Pier.
Yeah, I'm not paying $12 to watch it.
Oh, you don't have to. Here, I'll look it up. I got you. Unless you got it on Twitter, but otherwise I got you right here.
24-0 at the half.
Well,
Bayport up on Appleton North, 10-0. Two Rivers, 21. Racine St. Cat, 0.
So 24-0. Is that what you just said?
I think it was 21.
So 24-0. West of Pier with the ball in River
24.
Falls. Okay, yep. So with the ball, 9 minutes left in the third quarter.
So let's talk about Stratford a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? So,
happy to.
So Stratford started the season with a tie, I believe, against Mosinee because of lightning. And these Edgar Wildcats took care of business, 14-0 maybe, something around there.
Against Stratford?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
We were there that night.
Off in the corner. Yeah.
Off in the corner, yeah. And Stratford lost their last game to Amherst, right?
They did, yeah. In the fourth quarter, Amherst with a comeback late in the game.
Yep. So Stratford's lost 2.5 games, I guess, this year. But it seems like every single year, Stratford, and I'm not saying anything about the style of football across the state. I'm not saying anything about that. But it really seems like Stratford gets bracketed against this northwest part of the state, and they run over teams.
Oh, destroy them.
Yeah,
they really have. And I don't know if the football is just that much different in the northwestern part of the state. There's that much disparity. But it would seem to be that there is.
I mean, obviously, Regis is great.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I don't really consider them. They're more western to me than northwestern. Yeah. I'm talking about north of Highway 64 and then west.
Northwest of Ladysmith.
Yeah, for sure. Bach punt. Oh, my goodness. And scoop it up and run it. Well, now there's going to be a block in the back. Yeah. So Regis, though, will get the ball on their own, or on the Edgar 20 or so.
Yeah, that was almost blocked by two guys.
So let's back to the Northwestern football teams.
Yeah.
Let's just. I was in the middle of trying to quickly go through something here, and I apologize for my absence somewhat in that conversation. So if you'd already said it, I apologize. But you had Colby beat Northwestern. Somebody beat St. Croix Falls last week. The 1 and the 2 in that bracket. Well, I guess Aquinas must have, right?
Yeah.
So, you had the 3 and the 4 seed, beat the 1 and the 2, and both schools in that northwestern part of the state. You got Stratford running up, in the first half anyway, running it up on Grantsburg and others. And then over the years, that has been the case, especially in football season. When we talk about electronic seating or computerized seating.
I know where this is going. I'm so excited for it.
Well, those teams, especially St. Croix Falls, and I suppose Northwestern to a certain extent too. I mean, they had the computer formula to have those seeds, as we will now have a running clock in Eau Claire. So they've played the formula well, and they'll probably continue to play that formula well. But something happens come playoff time when those schools are playing schools from further south of them, which is almost anybody, and almost always get beat.
Yeah, I mean, 9-0 is 9-0, and 11-0 at this point is 11-0, and 10-1 is 10-1. But man, it's just there are parts of the state, and we see it in basketball as well, even in our area, right? When a team in our area, not every team, but when teams in our area play teams from the southeast part of the state, it's usually doesn't go our way.
No, it's just a different style that's being played at a different level, a different pace, a different intensity, a different skill. And I suppose that's what's happening with those Heart of the North teams that take up most of the northwestern part of the state. There used to be other teams we could kind of look at, and teams that would advance into the playoffs. But football-wise, a lot of those teams are now in 8-player formats, so we don't see that transpire. We don't see that progress like we used to with some of those teams, as they no longer are in 11-man football.
What year was that with the Heart of the North?
Where I got booed out of the volleyball gym in Bloomer, that one?
Yeah. So, I mean, in all seriousness, Stratford had a monster team that year.
They were unscored upon. They were undefeated and unscored upon in 2019.
Yeah, they did not give up a single point.
0.
All season.
0.
And they did not get the top seed.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense beyond the fact that more than half the schools or majority of the schools.
1 and 2. Some of the other teams, fortunately, gave Stratford a 1, but that average came out as a 2, and so Stratford was the 2 seed, hadn't given up a point all season.
It was a coin flip, right?
I think it was. I think you're right. They lost the coin flip and tied for the 1 seed. And then to really piss off Jason Tubbs, and he was mad, Coach Tubbs, and rightfully so. Then he loses the coin flip heading out of the seed meeting.
Yeah, it was shocking to see, right? Because you think it's a misprint, or if you didn't know what happened.
Yeah, Steve and I were doing our seed reveal show down in Wisconsin Rapids that day, and we thought the same thing when the seed came out. We were like, "Oh, no, that can't be right. Something's wrong." And so, we were getting our questions ready for Coach Tubbs. He was about ready to call in, and our first question was, "Is this correct?" Is this correct? And then right away he was very, very angry. And I tried to calm the folks in Stratford. I actually told them to not get their tiger stripes curled up, keep them straight and orderly. But they were really mad. And but my message to them that day, so the Saturday after week 9, was you get to settle this on the football field. And they did. They went up to Northwestern and shut out the Northwestern Tigers. 0.
21-0 or something like that.
Yeah, 0'd them. And that was that.
Someone did score on Cumberland or someone.
Well, the next, that was a level 3 game. So level 4 against Amherst. Amherst scored a touchdown in the 4th quarter. So they had 6 points being scored on them going into their state championship game against Lake Country Lutheran, and then Lake Country Lutheran won. Well, they had Stratford had some injuries, and I thought just had a really poor game plan anyway. I'll say that, and Coach Tubbs may be watching. Oh, he's not. He's coaching a football game.
Yeah.
But he and I have talked about that, and just the game plan wasn't the right one coming in. Had a really prolific quarterback that year, did Lake Country Lutheran, Luke Hartle. Edgar fumbles again, able to get back on it though this time.
Is that backup quarterback?
Nope, that's still Strite.
Okay.
Still out there. But running clock. We had a running clock, by the way, to start. 7 minutes left in the third quarter. So first time Edgar is a running clock in 30-plus years, so I am being told. A very, very long time. Almost older than I am.
Grantsburg is punting again. Every time I go to this game, Grantsburg is punting. Well, it's a fake.
Well, you
and
gotta do something different.
And it's snuffed out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
every time that I've seen Grantsburg punt, it's about 15 yards straight to the sideline.
Trying to angle it.
Yeah, so
get it away from the returner.
This was direct snap to one of the blockers, and he was met immediately.
So I know Dan likes the rest of this Heart on Earth story. So since we're in a running clock game here, I'll tell it. So a year later, and the Heart of North had done this before. This was not their first occurrence in 2019.
Notorious for it.
Yeah, they really were. They were off the charts. Now, others had done it, but they were off the charts in the way that they had. And they really didn't even – well, you can't hide it, I suppose. The facts are there. So anyway, the next year during volleyball season, so a year later, the Heart of North teams do the same thing in volleyball, except they do this to the negative disposition of Mosney. Mosney was clearly, whatever seed they were supposed to be and were downgraded multiple spots. And so I wrote about it, published a story, wrote about it. Mosney played Bloomer, and they swept them 3-0 at Bloomer. The underseed came in. It was an upset of a lifetime. Not really, because Mosney was clearly better than most of the Heart of North teams that voted them the 4 seed or whatever it was. And so the volleyball game concludes. I go down to the floor like I normally do. I was doing the play call that night, and began my process of interviewing Coach Justin Jacobs, Mosney volleyball coach, still Coach Jacobs, and owner of Wiggly Field in Wausau.
Weston.
Yeah,
Schofield.
Wiggly Field. What a name! Love it. Just absolutely love it. And I hear behind me the student section, 1, 2, 3, Zaleski sucks. They yelled this at me. Okay. So we Justin and I chuckle a little bit. The moment, the nanosecond the interview was done, the school principal shuts off the lights in the gym. We've got thousands of dollars of equipment still connected up in the top of the bleachers in the press box area that he is now telling us we've got to now disassemble and take out of the gym in the dark. That's how upset they are about this article that I wrote. He eventually turns the lights back on. I offer him the camera to tell me how I got it wrong. He says I would never understand, and he would not give me any remarks. He just told me to leave as soon as possible.
They also just lost 3-0.
All I did was tell the truth in an article. I'll tell you, print media gets no respect. No respect.
Someone's reading it.
A lot of people. Oh man, we've got the counter on the website. It was read widely. What's funny about that is I'd received many phone calls during that day from people all across the state saying, "Thank you. Finally, somebody wrote about this." I said, "Well, I don't need any thanks. I wrote something that is true and accurate." And if anybody would like to correct me, the microphone was open and nobody wanted to. So I didn't need any thanks for it. I just wrote from the heart, and I wrote what was factually true.
Yeah, and
that's the whole story.
Every time that there's computer seating, which is most sports, it's not volleyball.
Yeah.
There's a couple that don't do it, obviously.
Yep.
But every time that it happens, people scream on Twitter and online and everything else about it's not fair. The computers don't know what they're doing.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not one to defend the WIAA that much, right?
Right.
But they are in a hard position, right? Because they hear these seating meetings, which I have been in some, and they're contentious, right? It's you're getting the sleazy sales pitch about a team that is 8-14, and they're not the second best team there, right?
Yeah,
and and they always ask, or what you did was you stated what you think you should be. And when a team is 8-12 or 7-14 or whatever they are, and they think they should be the 3 seed, you're like, there's 16 teams here.
Yeah.
Like you're not a good team.
Right.
But yeah, everybody makes their pitch, and almost everybody who hasn't followed it that close, they'll go by a win-loss record, right? It's not the best way to do it, but if you don't do any research, it's kind of what you do.
Yep. And so there are some that don't do any research; they just show up.
Yeah, if they show up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so much better than what it used to be. Obviously, the formula is mostly secret, and the WIAA tells you win games against good teams, and you're fine, and it works out for you.
Right.
But yeah, it's so much better than what it used to be, and it hurts me that people are so against it, because it's so much better than it used to be. And I get it. A lot of these people weren't in those meetings, but teams got screwed.
Yeah.
Right? They
all the
absolutely did.
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah. If you had people that were reasonable in those meetings, then yeah, it probably is a good way to do it. But everybody goes into those meetings and they have a goal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They said even the worst, the bottom half of the seeded teams, you want the 11, because the 6 is going to be this team, and we almost beat them last time.
Right.
So how do I go down to 11 so I can maybe win a game? Like, it's ridiculous.
You're not seeding you or your opponents up based on merit. You're seeding based on strategy.
Yep.
Winnable strategy, I suppose. And so what's wrong with that? Well, nothing, except that it should be a merit-based system.
Yeah.
There is another system where, you can attempt to game the system and see if you can get one over on the other teams. There was a recent example, some inside information came to me. Volleyball, just a couple weeks ago, they had their seed meeting. Still people doing the seed meetings, and there are reasons for that, and reasons I actually agree with, as it turns out. But I think there's always a way for math to do it. But anyway, I had wrote about this a couple weeks before the end of the regular season for volleyball, that in Division 4, one of 2 teams from a group were going to go to state. It was going to be Columbus Catholic or Athens, and that was it. Those were the only 2 teams in that group that had a shot at it, and it turns out I was exactly right. It was Athens who went to state. But in that playoff seed meeting, there were teams, there were 13 other, there was Athens and then 13 others in the group. There were teams that had Athens seeded 4th or 5th. A clear number 2, maybe you could argue a 1, and she did, but no worse than a 2. No worse than a 2.
I think Athens was ranked number 2 in the state or something. Like, it's
so stupid. 4th or 5th seed, and it was about this idea that, well, we don't want to play, we want to be in the opposite side of the bracket from them, or whatever. We haven't seen, one coach, well, we'd never seen them before. Well, do some research. They're very available to be seen. But anyway, so the humans are always going to screw things up. That's the bottom line.
And I know that we don't want to talk Amherst too much, because it really is a sore subject. But in those types of circumstances, people get so mad at the WIAA, and they're literally just policing the rules that the actual schools passed.
Yeah, that's not the WIA rule. Right? Actually, the WIA has no rules.
Right.
The member schools have rules that they entrust the WIA to administer.
Our friend left, so now I don't have to sit on top of you. Although I'm not on camera, but that's okay.
Well, we can turn such things. The officials missed one there, Dan. There was a hurdle being made on the field. That's in high school football. That's a foul.
That's a triangle on your PlayStation controller.
That's right. But here it is ruled or intended to be ruled a penalty. It was not. It doesn't matter in the outcome of the game. 46-8. Not going to matter anyway. I actually quite like a hurdle. I'm all about the hurdling.
Onalaska is about to put this game away against Rice Lake.
Okay, yeah, not a surprise there. Onalaska, the 1 seed. Again, they're on a collision course with West Salem. 2 1s from 11 miles apart.
If West Salem wins, I think they were tied at last check.
Okay.
Oh, this camera. Brr.
Yeah, it's a bad one.
It's rough.
It's one of the worst ones we've seen.
Oh, look at this. Colby. Big play.
Down in the midfield. It's still the third quarter, it says.
Yeah, Aquinas was driving down to the red zone, and either that was the turnover or just a big play.
Stratford's still stuck on 21. I know they had
They were
fortune
driving.
of a good punt.
27 now.
So 27-0. Stratford is looking to shut out the Grantsburg Pirates. It looks like 270-0. They are on their way to level 4.
Running clock now.
Yeah. 270-0.
Stratford has not given up a point
In the playoffs?
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
54-0, 42-0, 27-0.
It's not that surprising. Like I said, they have gotten just better every week that they've played. I've become more and more impressed with them as we go. And
When's the last time you saw Edgar give up 52?
I have never seen it.
Yeah.
Never. I know that Coach Sins and I talked about this, more of just I wonder, curiosity, and it's a way for Coach to exercise his memory and his brain, all that. When was the running clock last had on you? And he thought about 30 years ago. I am telling you, if you asked him when the last time somebody scored 50 on you, he would say they haven't until today. I don't believe there was anybody that scored 50 on a Jerry Sins coached Edgar football team. Somebody can correct me.
For those that don't know Coach or haven't talked to him, he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever talk to.
Tremendous human being.
He could be the mayor of Edgar in a heartbeat if that's what he wanted to do. I'm not sure who the mayor,
I don't know if they have one.
Town chairman. Or
yeah, they probably
is.
have a town chairman. Yeah.
Right, but I don't think anybody has anything negative to ever say about Coach.
What could you say?
Yeah.
Family man, has produced upstanding kids, grown men now, and other, I believe, men. I don't know. Now you're really asking me about things I don't know about. I asked him, though, and I think I ask him this every year. It's kind of phrased a little bit differently every year. He and I have been doing a running show now for the last number of years, a weekly show. And I ask him, though, a little bit differently each season about what it's like to be the most popular guy in Edgar, to be a walking celebrity in Edgar. And the last time I asked him, he was at practice. He had his big sun hat on, and it drooped over his eyes. He said, well, this is why I wear this, so people can't see me. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He volunteers for a lot of stuff. They do a steam show, so kind of an automobile type show, tractor show. In the summer, he goes down, he parks cars, he volunteers for that, does other things. He's often in the gym at the other sporting events, so volleyball, basketball, what have you. Just another guy in the crowd. But this one got away from them almost from the get-go, Dan. Almost from the get-go.
Yep.
This one did. So Stratford 27-0, so we look now again to the St. Mary Springs Coleman game, who Dan has just updated. It's now a 1-point contest down there in Fond du Lac.
52.9 seconds ago. Period 4. Is this over? This is just about over. It doesn't make any sense. The scoreboard could be wrong.
Well, yeah, an hour 47 on the game.
Yeah. I think just the quarter was wrong. Maybe on the
seem
scoreboard.
likely. Like they forwarded to fourth too quickly, because we're in a running clock and we had just entered the fourth quarter a couple minutes ago here. So it doesn't seem likely.
Of course, whoever's broadcasting this, Radio Plus, courtesy of Radio Plus.
Okay.
They do not have a time on the scoreboard, which is, as someone who's run it, it's not that easy to do.
So update, I guess, is a good time to let this cat out of the bag. Beginning in winter sports, we are doing away with the clock on our scoreboard. We're actually we're moving to a different scoreboard technology. We're doing away with the clock. The reason being, Dan, it's an embarrassment of riches in the way for our on-air talent, and everybody listens to our broadcasts, and so the people there are more than capable of telling you how much time is left in a basketball game or every so often. So that's the plan right now. We could get ran out of town if we do that, though, I suppose, but there are some reasons.
There is weather here in Coleman.
Yeah, downpour from that angle, right?
Looks like sleet almost.
Well, it could be there. That's northeast.
Coleman's throwing 40-yard passes like the game's over. Yeah,
there's 39 seconds left. How did that game start an hour early, maybe? That could be.
I don't know.
Maybe it started at 6? Here, how long has this been going on? What does that say, minus 2 hours?
2 hours.
So that game probably started at 6:30. That's probably why.
It'll say on the bracket, right?
Might. They don't always.
And
Yeah.
that's Division.
Oh, yeah, you're in the wrong division.
Coleman was D7 last year.
Yeah, all right.
And maybe.
I'm not sure. Anyway, the other thing I was going to say about Stratford, so they're unscored upon here in these playoffs. Stratford also, I suppose, enjoying a Division 6 alignment this year. They had been Division 5 for a number of years. So that has. But again, I when I watched in that practice, it looked like not everybody was there. Like a bunch of kids weren't at practice. There were so few, it looked like, at practice. But
Stratford's team is small this year.
Just what I thought. Edgar has lost their patience here a little bit, Dan. Personal foul, and I would be frustrated too, because again, they watched all this film, and they were some of the guys in that film room. I've been in the film room before, probably chuckling at some of the other teams that Regis has obliterated. Like, oh, ha ha ha, that's too bad for them. And here it happened to them, and so you get a little frustrated about that.
The people in this St. Mary Springs Coleman game.
Yeah,
they do not look happy being out in the elements.
I don't either. Like a big tent on the sideline on the other side, keeping Coleman dry.
I'll tell you what, handing it off with under 30 seconds left, you have to go the full field, is a bold strategy.
Bold strategy. Well, you catch them off guard. That's what we're going to do. So Springs looking to hold on. What would there be? Maybe 30 seconds left in that one?
Yeah.
Leading by 1. Coleman, though, with the ball. About the 40, their own 40, maybe the 50. Somewhere near midfield.
It's really hard to say.
Yeah. The camera's really close to the field. So tough to get a look at it.
Yeah, Coleman went to state in D7 last year.
Yep.
Obviously, when they missed the cut line by just a couple, they knew it was going to be more difficult. Although, I tell you what, if Coleman's on this field tonight, Regis is still pounding them.
Boy, yeah, Regis looks like...
How does this team not win at Madison this year?
I can't imagine it. Yeah, I can't imagine it. So, they've got another game to win next week.
Against Bangor.
But yeah, with this lineup, I don't see it. I've watched a lot of football this year.
And Bangor,
I don't see it.
They were the team that was in D6, and then someone's like, hey.
Yeah. Clerical error on the seed day.
So they are the biggest school in D7, and they were in D6 when you were on the selection show.
For an hour and a half, they were in D6.
Yeah, because
after the seeds came out.
Blackhawk or something. I don't know. There was something where the team's enrollment wasn't correct, and Bangor slipped back down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Bangor's going to get Regis. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Again, they're going to have to find a neutral place between here and there. So I'd say that's about 50 miles.
Toma or something.
Could be. Yeah. Yeah, each team will have to go a little bit east probably to find that over there. A lot of times the colleges don't like you to play the night before their game. Clean up and such.
The WIAA does like using the four-year universities where they can.
If they can, yeah, because the fields are in excellent shape. Yeah. They're very playable and what you want.
Big press boxes, enough room for everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we were outside tonight, I might have been a late scratch.
If we were outside tonight, Dan, we'd have a hot chocolate with our our badges hanging off our jackets on the sidelines, just roaming around, acting like goofballs down there. And then we would have left probably after the end of the third quarter, like the newspaper lady did. Like, okay, seen enough here.
Interviewing the Don Marker guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like such an easy job, but if you screw it up, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that you can't get wrong.
Well, in 1990, in college football, they got it wrong. Colorado had 5 downs. Got it wrong that day.
Yep.
And
bad snap.
Buffs got a national championship out of it that day.
I'm surprised that Regis looks like a lot of their starters still in.
Well, for having 150 kids on their football team, you think they'd be able to find somebody else to finish out these last 5 minutes. We'll see who comes on offensively here.
It looks like the Regis students believe that they are going to win.
Is that the chant?
That is the chant.
Yeah. At this point, you lay out that chant. That's a 0.9 on my scale. I rank cheers 1 to 10. Gilman your fall sports student cheering section champion, by the way. Gilman, Gilman had it going on volleyball a month ago or so ago. They scored just a seismic shaking, a Richter scale shaking 8.2 for me that night. Really good, really good. And they thought they deserved higher. Most that I've seen are getting scored somewhere between 4.1 and 5.8. That's a normal score for me, but that's less than a point. We believe we will win chant comes out at 53-8 with 4 minutes left. No. Aquinas, start working in your next one. Start working on your next chant.
Aquinas just got a touchdown that's going to probably do it for Colby.
Okay, so the Hornet season looks like it'll come to an end. It was the Marshfield volleyball cheering section a couple weeks ago that I scored like a 1.3. So it's volleyball. It's girls volleyball. And, something happened in Marshfield's favor, and the Marshfield kids chanted, "Who's your daddy?" Well, these are girls. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't work like that. And funny enough, football coach Denny Gadel, who was in attendance, noticed the same thing I did. He didn't know my score, but he knows of the scoring that I do, and he knew right away. He went over and taught the kids a cheer to do the next time. And so something happened next time, and all of a sudden you see Coach Gadel, counting them down, 3, 2, 1. And then the kids go, "Alligator, alligator, chew 'em up, chew 'em up." All right. It's new. Well, it's not new. It's new since 1950.
Right.
But it's for around here. It was some new content, and I rated that one like a 5.4 or something like that. So it is a whole different group of Ramblers on the field here. I can tell this by two reasons, Dan: by their numbers and by the fact that we've got a 2nd and 18 coming up. We're a Ramblers team that had rambled for 18 yards of carry all game, now is backed up behind the chains.
A lot of our games getting a little bit out of hand.
So final. So it is, sorry, Dan, we've got our first official final, our first final on the board with St. Mary Springs, the Ledgers, moving on 21-20, a nail-biter on the road in Coleman. And they look to have a date with the Stratford Tigers. They didn't have a run. They didn't have a clock on their screen over there.
Grantsburg scored, actually.
27-7. Sorry if I said that wrong. So 27-7. Still a 20-point Stratford lead in the fourth quarter. So Stratford and St. Mary Springs look to be on a collision course and look for that game to be in Wapaka on Friday. I don't know that. So just Zaleski sent us in Wapaka. Okay. It looks like that's where it's going. It looks like. And Trevor Leopold, the athletic director there, will take a look around and see if he's got any workers and volunteers. And if you'd like that game to be in Wapaka, you can certainly call Trevor and volunteer to work, various stations during that game. He would take the help, I'm sure. We will be there.
Newman up 35-0.
You and I have been to Wapaka for a football game this year. Week 1. Dan and I were in Wapaka.
Wapaka did not win.
Not that day. No.
I don't remember the score. I feel like that game was kind of out of hand, and then Wapaka came back and made it interesting.
As soon as we hung up our microphones, Wapaka began a comeback. And so we didn't go back. We didn't want to screw it up for the Comets. They did make the playoffs. The Comets did. Got beat badly by West Salem in level 1. Okay, I believe that we have won. Okay. I still, though, I mean.
You think?
2.0.
Oh, and a late flag.
Yeah, and a bomb, too. I mean, he threw a bomb.
Getting chippy.
The umpire just threw a rocket from midfield. Let's see, Dan. We'll stay on here just a little bit longer because there's not going to be another play ran in this game. This one is now done, 53-8. To the final 20 seconds of the running clock, we'll move off scoreboard. Congratulations to the Regis Ramblers, 53-8. And they will move on, it looks like, to take on the Bangor Cardinals.
Looks like it.
So good luck. Next week we will not be there for the Cardinals Ramblers game.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
I will say we will not be there.
So there's
Would you like to go?
There's no amount of money that they will pay Zaleski Sports to broadcast that game.
There's no amount of money that they will pay me.
Okay, well that's different.
Yeah, that is different. I can guarantee those schools will offer $0.
It looks like cashed in. The one seat on the other side is going to win.
Over Blackhawk Warren. So the Blackhawk Warren Tribe upended Assumption last week, and now they have been upended and out of the playoffs.
Shiocton, they are
The Chiefs.
just outside our viewing area.
Yeah, well, we had them, 'cause again, we carry Stratford and Spencer Columbus and Amherst out of this Central Wisconsin Conference, so we get Shiocton 3 times a year.
Shiocton's crushing Cambria-Friesland.
Well, so Shiocton was the largest school or one of the largest schools in D6, right? Or
D7.
7. Sorry, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. They had just they were just out of the 6 range, so a very large school in D7. So Shiocton, congrats.
All right. So your state semifinalists are going to be Regis against Bangor. That's actually a good game. Regis is rolling. So
you've got that in the
again,
third quarter. Maybe that's in the fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I guess we don't have to
these
update
are all
anymore.
fourth.
We're gonna be signing off here in about 5 minutes, so you can.
Yeah.
I think the scores we have up there are final or essentially
Late.
final.
Yeah.
Essentially final.
So Regis and Bangor, and then Cashton and Shiocton. So Bangor, the 3 seed. Bangor's a lot better than the 3 seed, but again, they were brought back down into the division, and they didn't want to have a 1-2 team go down because of their mistake.
Right.
So they just threw Bangor in as a 3. To the chagrin of Potosi, Cassville, and
Right.
Pepin-Alva.
Yep. Clerical error.
Yeah, that's kind of a big one.
It's an unfortunate one.
Yeah. But you know what? You win the games. And
You're still going to play it on the field. I don't care what your seed is. Like we went over this earlier.
Yep. And Bangor had to win 2 road games, and they
did.
won 2 road games rather easily.
And they did.
Division 6. Stratford is going to get St. Mary's Springs.
Would you mind just showing me the feed real quick for Stratford? And then
Absolutely.
you can
27-7.
and Stratford with the ball.
Unknown amount of time. Looks like they're punting maybe. Or is it? No. Just shotgun.
Just a shotgun there. So Stratford likely is going to move on here. 20-point advantage. They've got the ball at midfield, right on the 50, and with the ball. So that's and they're taking a lot of time. So they're running the play clock down there. They're zooming during the play. I'm going to have to call Bob after this.
Yeah, I don't feel good watching this
So
stream.
you can shut that off. So, okay. Thank you. Onalaska really pouring it out now. 41-22. That game was closer at the half. That was maybe a 6-point game at half. But Rice Lake will end its season in 2022, football-wise, and its fall sports campaign.
Colby is driving.
Okay.
How do you not have any time? How much time is left in these games?
Well, Dan, I hope nobody says that about us during winter sports.
Wanake's on the board.
I think during the playoffs, though, we'll probably make some. We've got some extra abilities, in a playoff game to do some fancier stuff, and depending on how things go, we could maybe add a clock. I like the play clock in the end zone. Just can't use it during football, during high school football.
Yeah, I want to say that professionals, right, that we see on TV and TNT and college basketball twice a week or whatever.
Yeah.
That they get a feed from the actual clock itself.
Well, they've got the equipment where it gets automatically put on the screen.
Yeah.
Computerized, and I've priced that out for us. It's about $2,500 per. So when we're doing 10, 12 games a night, $2,500 per, you can add up the numbers there. So, but
dangerous pass by Colby.
Things may happen. Checks show up every now and then. We've made. I think over the last 7 years, all the technological advances we've made, it's pretty unbelievable. That looked like it was a 4th down play, Dan. So
yeah, you wouldn't know by looking at it, but yeah, it looks like it.
So Aquinas,
the way that Aquinas was celebrating,
on. Yeah. So the Blue Golds over the Hornets. We can put a F on our scoreboard there. I think that can be a final for all intents and purposes. That's an F.
Newman's final.
That is a final, so congrats.
I don't know if that's the right score, but
yeah, close enough. Highlights of Newman and Siren. So if you didn't get a chance to watch the Newman 35-0 win, as the Cardinals have advanced to the state tournament for the state championship game, 3 of the last 4 years now, I believe is what that is. Highlights will be available tomorrow morning on Facebook. Zaleski Sports Wausau on Facebook first, if you want to see it first.
So the Division 6 semifinalists, Stratford Tigers, St. Mary Springs Ledgers.
Yep. So they're going to play on Friday.
Mondovi crushed Marshall today.
The Buffaloes. Well, the running game looked really strong last Friday against Auburndale.
That was a 35-0 game at Marshall.
That's a blowout.
And then Darlington beat Kenosha St. Joseph. So
okay.
Darlington against Mondovi, 2 seeds. St. Mary Springs, a 2 seed. Stratford, a 2 seed. The 4 2s made it.
Okay. All right. So we'll have a 2 seed as a state champ. Coming up, I guess the last one you can tell me about Notre Dame.
Bold prediction.
Thank you. Notre Dame Academy, the 7 seed in Division 1.
Do you know who they were playing?
Oh, you showed me earlier that it was tied 14 at half. You ask all the best questions,
West
Dan.
Salem.
Oh, it was West Salem.
4:43 left. West Salem up by.
Boy, I tell you, Notre Dame Academy as a 7 seed. I mean, they've made it to level 3, and they're still a 1-score game against the top seed in West Salem. Good for them.
So West Salem, Aquinas.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, on Alaska.
On Alaska,
yeah. All right, Dan. Well, let's go ahead and sign off. I'll give you. I've said a lot tonight. Last thoughts for Dan Ross.
It's been a pleasure to follow this Wildcats team, and people are probably down about this result, but sometimes you run into a buzzsaw, and I think that's kind of what happened tonight. And I'm sure that coaches are extremely proud of their kids, and I don't want to speak for them, but when we talk to the coaching staff at a lot of these schools, they're so thankful for parents and fans and everybody that comes out and supports them and volunteers for home games and stuff. It's all part of it.
Yeah, I look down in the corner. A lot of Edgar standing down there in the corner right now waiting for their boys to come off the football field.
Yeah.
So, yeah, congrats on a great season. Again, Regis, very impressive. Good luck next week. And I would figure the Regis Ramblers are state champs. And I know that I picked them. Travis asked me for the picks. I know I picked Regis. So,
yeah, I think you were the only one to pick Stratford to get down there, right? Or, yeah, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of love for Grantsburg.
Some people know what they're talking about. Some people don't.
The Southern writers and Southern football people.
Yeah.
Travis Wilson, fan of the show.
He is.
He did not pick Stratford.
Yeah. You got to go around the world without blinders on. That's what I'll tell you. Because. I'm totally neutral on Regis as a school and as a football team or whatever. But somebody asked me to pick who's going to win state. I'm going to give an honest assessment of it all.
And it's Regis.
Well, yeah, in that case, others too. It kind of goes back to our talk about human beings doing the seeds. I'm only going to give credit to who I've seen play this year. No, come on.
Hey, Tom has coach.
All right. So that interview happening live at ZaleskiSports.com. We will sign off. Dan Ross there. Jason Zaleski here. Have a great night, everybody. Good seeing you again. We will have our schedule updated at ZaleskiSports.com. Click Weekly Sports, and we'll tell you where we're going to be on Friday next week. Have a good night, everybody.